Hi everybody, in this video it's going to be the best case scenario for the Democrats in the upcoming US Senate elections. I'll do the Republicans in a future video. Today it's just going to be for the Democrats. And also on the 15th, that is the Iowa caucus. The plan for that day is to do a live stream. We could go through the community poll results and take a look at what happens in Iowa. So stop by if you're interested in that. Also before the next election, it'd be great to get the subscribers way over 2,000. So remember to like, share, and subscribe. So let's get into this map. This is going to be the best reasonable case scenario. There's always far-fetched fringe theories you could come up with, but at this point in time in January, there's still a lot we don't know as far as candidates. So I try to provide enough latitude for different possibilities without getting too crazy. So this is going to assume things go right for the Democrats. The national environment favors them, Biden's popularity recovers, and Republicans manage to fumble the ball again. So we're going to start with the obvious safe states for the Democrats, and these are over a 10-point margin. So there's nothing shocking here. These were already blue states anyway. We've got Hawaii, Washington, California, New Mexico, Minnesota. Maine has Angus King. He's technically an independent, but he caucuses with the Democrats. Vermont, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland. And in this scenario, it's also going to be Virginia going over 10. Now the safe states for the Republicans, even in this best case scenario for the Democrats, they're going to get Utah. Maybe something develops where the Republicans completely wipe out in their primary. Maybe Evan McMullin gets in as an independent. Somehow things line up and it gets down under 10. But at this point, it's going to stay safe. Also, Wyoming. I don't think there's any chance that gets under 10. Even if Mr. Popular, John Barrasso, decides not to run again, Democrats have no chance here. North Dakota, also going to stay safe. You might have heard Kevin Cramer, the senator there. His son has had some criminal troubles. I still don't think that's going to affect anything. This is North Dakota. Democrats have no bench. It's going to stay over 10. Also, let's go down to Mississippi. Reasonably, I can't see that getting under 10 at this point. Same thing in Tennessee. If back in the blue wave of 2018, former Governor Phil Bredesen was unable to get it under 10 against Marsha Blackburn, I don't see that getting under 10 at this point in time. And finally, West Virginia. The only way this gets under 10 at this point is if Joe Manchin decides to actually re-enter the race. Other than that, Republicans are still going to flip this, and it's likely to be over 10. Now let's do the likely states for the Democrats. These are between a 5 and a 10-point margin. Let's start on the West Coast. We've got Nevada. I'd say right now Democrats are already slightly favored. They have Jackie Rosen as the incumbent. It's expected to be competitive, but on a great night for Democrats, this would have to hit 5 or more points. We could also go next door to Arizona. This could be a crazy three-way race. The Democrat is likely to be Ruben Gallego. At a reasonably favorable environment for Gallego, in a 3 or even just a 2-way race, I think he would get this by a likely margin. The next state, it's Wisconsin. This is going to be similar to Nevada. There's an incumbent Democrat here. Republicans have a primary to get through. They easily could put up a bad candidate. In a blue environment, Tammy Baldwin is going to win this by over 5 points. You might even say on a big blue wave it hits 10. That's not completely out of the question, but right now I think that's a little bit out of range. And we're going to go next door again to Michigan. This is an open seat. It's likely to be Alyssa Slotkin for the Democrats. Republicans will have another crowded primary. So assuming it's smooth sailing for Slotkin in a blue-leaning environment, she's going to get this by a likely margin. Now while we're here, let's do one other state. That is going to be Pennsylvania. Now this is not known as a solid blue state, but Democrats are going to have Bob Casey. I think he's popular. I think he's well known. I think Republicans could blow it again. So on a great night, I could see this hitting 10 points. Probably not much over that, but Pennsylvania is actually going to go safe in the best case scenario for the Democrats. Now let's go on to the Republicans, and we're going to start in Nebraska. Now Nebraska has 2 U.S. Senate elections this year. They've got the special election where former Governor Pete Ricketts moved over to the U.S. Senate. That one I think is most likely to stay over 10, so I'm going to keep that as safe. Now the regular election, that has incumbent Deb Fischer. She's not a well-known senator, and there was one poll that showed an independent candidate leading her by a couple points. So if Democrats don't even put up a candidate, and it is just an independent, and Republicans wipe out, then there's a chance this does become more competitive. I think in the end, Republicans are still likely to hold because it is a fairly red state, but in this scenario, I can't put it at safe. I'm going to take it down to likely for the Republicans. Let's go next door again to Missouri. This is the Josh Hawley election. This time Democrats have a primary to get through. So on a good night for the Democrats. This is not going to be safe for the Republicans. And again, given it's January, I think it would also be unreasonable to take this down to leans. So I'm going to split the difference and still say this goes likely for the Republicans. And the last likely state for the GOP is going to be Indiana. This is an open seat. Senator Mike Braun is retiring, so that means it should be a little bit more competitive than usual. Also, Democrats won this seat in 2012. Braun flipped it in 2018 in that blue wave. He won it by less than 10. So in a blue wave, maybe Jim Banks flops, Democrats get it together, and this state becomes a little bit more competitive. So that is going to take this down to likely for the Republicans. Now we've got 4 states left. Let's start in Montana. This is already held by a Democrat. That's Jon Tester. He's running for a 4th term. He's never won by 5 points. His other wins have been in favorable environments. So if this year it was favorable again, I think Tester's going to hang on. And I would guess it would be by a similar margin of somewhere between 3 and 4.5 points. So that means it's going to go likely for Tester. Next, it's Ohio. Here's another one with an incumbent Democrat, Sherrod Brown. The state has moved hard toward the right. Brown has done what Tester's done, although his margins have been wider. So Republicans could blow it in the primary. And Brown is the best the Democrats are going to be able to do here. In my last actual Senate prediction, I already had Brown holding on narrowly. In this, it's going to go up a little bit, and he's going to get it probably by a 4 to 5 point lean margin. I think in this scenario, it would still be unreasonable to think it goes over 5, but it's certainly reasonable to think that Brown holds on in a great night for the Democrats. Next, we're going to go to Florida. This has Rick Scott, and I personally think Scott is not a strong candidate. He has won narrow multiple elections. He gets full credit for that, and I know the state has gone toward the right, but I think it would be unreasonable to think that in a blue wave, Rick Scott is still able to hold on. I do want to see what the trends are after the election, but in this one, I think Scott goes down by at least 1 point, maybe up to 2.5 points. So that means it is going to go leans for the Democrats. The last state is Texas. Here we've got Ted Cruz. He's got his issues with popularity. Democrats have a primary to get through. It might be Colin Allred. I think it's an uphill climb for Allred. This is a state trending in the opposite direction as Florida. But if everything completely lined up where Ted Cruz implodes and Allred surges, then I think this state will flip. I still think it would be narrow, but for this I am going to put it as a tilt for the Democrats. So the final map comes out to 52 Democrats and 48 Republicans. Republicans still have a flip in this scenario, that's West Virginia, but Democrats are able to pick up Texas and Florida. I don't think Democrats really have any other targets even in this scenario, so I think this would be the top of the mountain for the Democrats, at least at this point. Maybe in 4 or 5 months, we've had the primaries, we have a better sense of the national environment, and I can make some changes. But other than that, I think this is a pretty good map. I'm open to enough reasonable possibilities happening, but I'm also going to reject the more extreme scenarios where Missouri flips. But this, I think, is the ultimate map right now for the Democrats. So let me know in the comments, how does your map look for the best case scenario? Do you have Montana going up to likely, or do you still have Rick Scott holding on at Florida? Let me know down below. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.